Hello and welcome to this episode of the Alignment with Jen podcast. I am your host, Jen Ditzazy, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of the episode on how to heal your nervous system in order to manifest more in your life. So I did part 1 last time. If you didn't listen to it yet, go back after this episode and listen to it. It's okay to listen to them out of order. Today, what we're really going to get into are the tools of how to truly heal your nervous system. I got so excited as I said that. I'm really excited about this. Last week, we went more into the nuts and bolts of how the nervous system works and how to identify what nervous system patterns you need to heal. And so today we're going to go into actually how to heal those. So I'm very excited about this. So I want to give this metaphor that I gave last time because it's super, super valuable. Thinking of your nervous system as that pot of boiling water, right? Sitting on the stove. And ideally, the water is not boiling, it's calm and tranquil. And that's the place, that calm and tranquil place is when we are the most powerful of manifestors, right? We're in that alpha and theta brainwave state where we're attracting in and drawing in the things that we want. And we're just effortlessly more magnetic. It's where just things kind of flow and things kind of just work out for you, right? I know the more that I can stay in that place, the more I don't have to worry about anything, which is so counterintuitive, right? Because people get into that stressful place from worrying, and so they move further away from the solution than if they were to just take a break and focus and get back into that calm state. I wanted to share this little story from one of my mentors. He works with a lot of really, really wealthy clients. And something that he said is that anytime one of his really wealthy clients would have a challenge, like he told this story about one of his clients who got this huge lawsuit given to him. And he's like, yeah, I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this. And he's like, so like, what are you going to do next? And he's like, I'm going to go on vacation, even though he had just got slapped with this huge lawsuit. And he was like, I don't care how this is going to work out. I just know it's going to work out for me. I know it's going to work out. So I'm going to go relax. I'm going to go have a good time. And it'll come to me what to do. That's how really powerful manifestors work. They know that it's not like, I need to force it. I need to make it happen. I need to stress about it. They know that they need to get their nervous system into the right state, and then they'll attract in what they want. That's the most important part. So let's talk about how to do that. First, let's talk about why dysregulation happens. Dysregulation happens for many, many, many reasons, right? I mentioned this in the last episode. One major one, and I personally think it's probably the only one, is our thoughts, is how we are perceiving and how we are thinking about situations, because our thoughts dictate how we're feeling and our emotions. The challenge with that, though, is a lot of our thoughts are subconscious, what I call whisper thoughts. They're these thoughts that happen that we're not fully aware of, and they can create emotions, and we don't even know why we're feeling those emotions. So that's one of the big reasons that dysregulation happens, is because something will happen in our environment and we'll interpret it in a certain way. It might remind us subconsciously of a past experience, a past memory, and that can stress out our nervous system, right? I had this client a long time ago, and she said anytime she would see a red truck, she would start to panic because she got into a car accident with a red truck years ago. That's a really fast automatic response, right? That's really hard to consciously think her way out of. We did reprogramming work on that for her to not feel that way anymore. Those are the kinds of deeper things that can help with the thought aspect of dysregulation, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I just wanted to talk right now about why dysregulation happens in the first place. So one is thoughts. Another one can be our environment, right? If our environment is unstable, if things are changing in our environment, right? We're going from being married to being single, moving from one city to another, that newness of the city, the not being as familiar can cause dysregulation in our nervous system. Maybe a new job, that can cause dysregulation. But I want you to know that all of these things, you can have the tools to help you overcome them so you don't feel as dysregulated or dysregulated at all. It could be things like rejection or criticism. One of my friends was telling me that when she would post on social media, she would her heart would just start palpitating and she'd get all freaked out by it. That is dysregulation, right? It's some subconscious process. A lot of our dysregulation is from these subconscious processes. It could be pressure. It could be past trauma or memories that have not been resolved by the mind. So what the mind will do is if there's something that's unresolved, it'll kind of keep looping it. And it can keep looping it on a subconscious level or a conscious level. So consciously, this might look like Oh, I really, really need to pay that bill. Oh, I really, really need to do my taxes. Oh, I really need to pay my bill, right? You just loop that same thought until you deal with it. It kind of sits there and taps on your head. Sometimes that can happen unconsciously too. And this can create things like generalized anxiety or fears that we aren't really sure where they're coming from. Typically, it can become coming from these deeper layers of the mind where the mind feels like something is unresolved and is trying to protect you from that thing. Those can be unprocessed memories. So those are some of the big ones that create that sense of dysregulation. I'm sure there's more to it, but that gives you a pretty good idea. The reason that we have these is because our body is trying to protect us from a perceived threat. That's really what it is. And our work is to create safety in the body and show our body and our mind that we are safe, we are okay, and that will allow us to expand and manifest new levels with so much more ease. Because something I see often is that people, let's say someone starts a business and that business was really stressful for them. Then they want to either grow that business or start a new business. Their mind will often resist it, because their mind associates it with that old nervous system state, that old stressful state. So when we want to manifest a new level that feels unfamiliar, remember the subconscious mind loves familiarity, then we have to teach it safety. We have to make it feel safe in that expansion, in that new experience. This can come up also in relationships. A new relationship where you just start picking fights, right? That's a safety behavior. So let's talk about, I'm going to break this up into a couple of different sections. First, I want to talk about daily practices that you can do to alleviate and calm your nervous system. And I think of these as like releasing the steam valve, because throughout the day, steam is going to build up, right? That's just naturally going to happen. So I recommend having at least 1 or 2 daily practices that you do in order to just allow that steam valve to release, like on a Instapot, right? You release it, all that steam releases. A few of these tools, one that I think is the most exceptional in my personal opinion is meditation. I think meditation is unrivaled in its ability to calm and create tranquility in the mind. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be meditating and feel peaceful, but it means over time it's going to regulate and calm the nervous system. Yoga, especially yin yoga is so great for the parasympathetic nervous system. It's things that activate that parasympathetic nervous system where you just feel really relaxed. Maybe going into a jacuzzi, right? A steam room, things that make you feel that calm state. It could be things like walking. I recommend walking without music or stimulation. That can be really calming. Sometimes when I'm driving, I'll just turn off the radio because that helps me to just feel a little more calm in the car. Time in nature is a really powerful one as well. You can stack these as well. Maybe you go in nature, walk there and meditate. I don't know, go crazy. Breath work is another one. There's different styles of breath work. I'm not really talking about the more active breath work. I'm talking about the more calming breath work, like box breathing. You can Google that. Those can be better for calming the nervous system on a daily basis. Another great one is EFT tapping. That's something that I incorporate into my programs as well. It's tapping on certain meridian points in the body, and research has shown it actually drops cortisol, the stress hormone level, dramatically. And over time, it can really, really help to regulate your nervous system as well. So these are different daily practices that you can do to really, really help yourself. But honestly, all I want you to do is just pick one. Pick one thing that you can commit to every day and just think of it as you're releasing that steam that got built up. Maybe you do it in the morning, in the evening, it doesn't much matter. And I want to give you some more simple ones that you can also just use in the moment. One thing you can do is always like placing your hands on your heart and making your exhale longer than your inhale. So that pressure on our body is actually very safety creating, and our breath is a really powerful way. So breathing in and just creating that longer exhale and just doing that for a little bit in the moment can help to just start to create that regulation. Another one can be things like grounding practices. So grounding is when you connect your body to the earth, and there's actually a transfer of energy. It can be exceptionally healing for the nervous system. So you can go outside and just walk in the grass without your feet on. Maybe you go take your dog for a walk and you get to the park and you take your shoes off and walk in the grass. Those can be very, very powerful. Another one is also shaking. So I mentioned this in the last episode. When animals want to discharge stress, they will literally shake their bodies. So something that you can try out, and you can do this in the shower every day, just for 5 minutes, is just shake out your body, right? Release that energy. Allow yourself to just let it go. Same with stretching. Right? Stretching is great because it releases the fascia. It allows energy to move. And that's an amazing, amazing, super simple way, right? These are so insanely simple. So those are some of the daily things. But what I want you to think about with your daily practice is it's not a one and done thing. It's daily because we have this stress that gets built up as we just go about our normal day, right? Driving on the freeway, getting a phone call that was unexpected from a friend, getting an unexpected email, a bill popping up that you didn't expect, right? These things happen. And so we just want to soothe and love our nervous systems. And repetition is really what's going to help you on a daily basis. So we have our daily practice. The second one is going to be living in harmony with who you really are. So this is sort of an unexpected one, but I think it's essential for regulating the nervous system. And I want to start it with a story because I love stories, and I think you love stories. One of my longest term relationships was about 4 years in my early 20s. And this relationship was, I didn't realize it, but very, very dysregulating for me. And as a result, it caused a lot of health issues. And at the time, I was also working in a job that felt really out of alignment for me. And that was creating even more health issues. So my anxiety was off the charts. I had skin issues. I had gut issues. I was feeling depressed. It was like all sorts of stuff piled on. And when I left that relationship and I left that job, those things healed so much faster, some of them like almost instantly. Because when we are living out of alignment, it's very dysregulating for our nervous system. When we are not showing up in our full truth, it's very dysregulating for our nervous system. And we can't consciously think our way out of it. Your body knows what's true for you. Your body lives in that present moment. It lives in the truth. And so we can't lie to ourselves, right? We can't pretend that this relationship is what we want or this job is what we want. It can be harmful to our health. It can be harmful to our ability to manifest the things we want when we're out of alignment. And it doesn't mean you have to change it in an instant, but what it means is taking steps and taking actions to live your life in true alignment with who you really are is one of the most regulating things you can do for your nervous system. I think a really powerful tool to use for this, and I'm not going to get too much into this because I am not an expert, but is human design. So you can search human design. I think there's a website, myhumandesign.com. That's a really great one. And you can look at your human design chart and learn more about that. I am a projector. If you couldn't tell, if you know about human design, you could probably tell. And learning to live in alignment with my human design, how my energy is designed to work, has been insanely helpful for regulating and healing my nervous system and allowing me to manifest things way faster into my life. Okay, so that's a helpful tool that I recommend exploring. Then the third piece of this is the deeper internal work. So we can do the daily meditations, right? We can do the daily stretching, the daily breath work, but they're not going to get to that deeper programming that I talked about earlier that's really creating these nervous system responses. Those things are I view them more as for maintenance. And some of them, like longer meditations, things like that, can be really powerful and do that deep inner work. But the things that truly are driving dysregulation in the nervous system are our thoughts, the meaning that we are assigning to things, our worldview and how we're viewing things, our subconscious patterns and our subconscious associations. And I went more in detail into this in the first of these 2-part series. Protective beliefs, right? Identity coding, that self-talk is so huge. Self-talk can be extremely regulating or extremely dysregulating, right? Just notice when you're feeling like crap, how are you talking to yourself? And so I think such a funny example of this is the movie I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer. And in it, she starts off and she feels not very attractive. Then she's in the shower and she hits her head and she wakes up. She doesn't look any different, but she just believes she is so insanely beautiful. And she attracts a boyfriend. She starts accelerating in her career. And it's amazing because it's just her perception of herself changed, right? And the whole world responded to her. And that's how manifestation really works. And that is how powerful we are at our ability to regulate or not our nervous systems, right? When we are speaking kindly to ourselves, when we are loving ourselves, when we are thinking highly of ourselves, it creates a completely different result than when we are not. And that result is seen in our lives. Going to those deeper levels, right, is understanding what are the patterns. I think of them as like the flowers above the surface, right? Any belief in your subconscious mind has a behavior that you will see associated with it. And those behaviors I think of as like the flower, and then there's the root system, which is actually the beliefs and the patterns and the subconscious blocks that are associated with it. So those flowers above the surface could be things like procrastination, overthinking, people pleasing, emotional reactivity, being triggered, undercharging, right? Not going on dates, even though you want to meet people, fear of visibility, fear of being seen, all the things that I really talked about in that last episode, they are the symptoms of something going on beneath the surface, of some belief system that isn't supporting you. And that's where this deeper subconscious rewiring work is super, super insanely valuable for you. And if that's something that you want support on, that's what I help with in my programs. And you can always message me the word podcast and I can send you a video about that. But understanding those internal programs is so powerful because those internal programs basically act like that thermostat. We can be cruising and we'll be fine. And then we hit that certain level. And what will happen is we will bring ourselves back down. And that can be through procrastination, that can be through perfectionism, whatever our nervous system response is. So the way that our nervous system is responding is in direct response to how our subconscious mind is processing information. And we want it to process information in a helpful way that gets us to the result that we want. The thing that is really, really amazing about working with your subconscious mind and changing things at that deeper level is it will automatically create regulation in your nervous system. For me, I think I've shared this before about my journey with anxiety. I used to have really, really bad anxiety, and that's actually what got me into this work that I do now and really got me into the subconscious mind and manifestation and spirituality more. For me, it was actually shifting those deeper, lower level beliefs that allowed me to heal my anxiety. And it was incredible. And it was like night and day. But I've had clients where, like, I had one client who messaged me today and she's been in my program for about 3 months. And she's like, I don't know why, but money is just coming to me more easily. She owns a law firm. And she's like, it used to feel really stressful and now it feels easy. That's because her nervous system's response to money has changed, right? Same with me with my anxiety. My response to what was making me anxious at the time, which was lots of things, changed, right? And that's what happens is we can automatically change our nervous system response when we work on those deeper levels. So I hope that this was helpful for you. And I hope what you take away is at least one daily practice that you can commit to, because as you commit to that, you are going to start to rapidly expand your ability to attract in the things you want. Because being in that calm, regulated nervous system is the most magnetic place you can sit, the most creative place, the most intuitive place, the place where solutions come to you, where you don't feel stuck, where you feel like the best version of you. So I hope that this was helpful. And I will also link in the show notes a free meditation. So if you want to get started with some meditation, it's a great one to get started with. All right, bye.